All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Joshua Lafazan. I serve as Nassau County Legislator representing District 18. We're here with a number of community leaders who you'll hear from in a little bit, as well as New York State Assemblywoman Taylor Darling. Yesterday, we joined with civic leaders, neighbors, and concerned residents outside the fake Whitestone address of Mr. George Santos to call on him to do the right thing and to immediately resign. In the 24 hours since, Mr. Santos has not refuted one single allegation that was raised in the New York Times report or any national report about his fraudulent behavior. What he has done is he has allowed himself to be shielded by his lawyer, and he continues to hide from the public. In fact, nobody can answer this one simple question: where is Mr. George Santos? That is why this morning, joined together with community leaders and civic leaders, we are officially asking for a federal investigation from the United States Attorney for the Eastern District, calling for a thorough federal investigation into Mr. Santos's fraudulent claims and fraudulent behaviors. We will also be sending a copy of this letter to the House Ethics Committee and asking for them to investigate as well. This is not about harmless embellishments that candidates make when they run for office. Rather than simply being embarrassing, many of the allegations raised by the national reporting include potential federal crimes that Mr. Santos committed when running for the United States Congress. They include at least, but are not limited to, the following: a potential case of voter fraud, potential conspiracy to defraud the United States in connection to campaign donations from individuals related to Russian oligarchs, blatant lying to the FEC on his candidate financial disclosures, and potential misuse of campaign funds for personal use. Regarding the potential case for voter fraud, it is illegal to register to vote at an address at which you do not live. We know from the New York Times report that Mr. Santos does not live at the address he's registered to vote. In fact, when the New York Times asked the landlord if they knew Mr. Santos, they answered that they had never heard of him. It is also illegal to run for office in the state of New York and the United States with a falsely listed address. When you run for office, you have to gather signatures on petitions from neighbors, oftentimes thousands of your neighbors. And at the top of that petition lists the candidate's legal name and legal address. So not only did Mr. Santos defraud the general public, he also defrauded the thousands of his neighbors and my constituents who signed his petitions to allow him to run for office. Regarding the potential conspiracy to defraud the United States in regards to donations from individuals connected with Russian oligarchs, what comes into striking question is whether Mr. Santos's previously staunch anti-Ukraine views are influenced by the tens of thousands of dollars in past campaign donations from figures related to Russian oligarchs. His campaign received $32,800 from Andrew Intrator, a man who is, according to the Daily Beast, an operative linked to the uppermost echelons of the Russian regime. Not only did his campaign receive $32,800 directly, but also tens of thousands of dollars were ported to auxiliary committees backing Mr. Santos. $20,000 to the GADS PAC, a leadership political action committee bearing the candidate's initials, and $12,000 to the DeVolder Santos Nassau Victory Fund. To put into context how unsettling these pro-Kremlin ties may be, one of Andrew Intrator's companies even had its assets frozen by the United States Department of Treasury due to its proximity to Russian oligarchs. Regarding Mr. Santos's blatant lying to the FEC on his financial disclosures, when Mr. Santos ran for Congress in 2020, he listed an annual salary of $55,000 a year and almost no financial assets. Yet in 2022, when Mr. Santos ran for Congress, he submitted a very different financial disclosure, stating that he had up to $5 million in savings and was wealthy enough to loan his campaign $700,000. Newsday asked several questions that were not answered as required by federal law on his disclosures. And the questions are the following. What is Mr. Santos' source of his newfound wealth? Who are the clients of the defrauded organization that Mr. Santos claims to wholly own? Mr. Santos claimed to own a mansion on Tiffany Lane in Oyster Bay Cove and a mansion on Dune Road in the Hamptons. Why are these not listed on his disclosure? And what about the 13 properties that Mr. Santos claims to own with his family? And how does Mr. Santos get evicted from not one but 2 apartments, yet have the financial flexibility to loan his campaign $700,000? Finally, regarding Mr. Santos' potential misuse of campaign funds for personal use. Mr. Santos' campaign finance disclosures showcase that he bankrolled a lavish lifestyle paid for by his campaign donor funds. The report details how Mr. Santos spent $40,000 on travel during his campaign, including over 70 hotel stays on his 2022 disclosure alone. His expenditures feature lavish hotels such as the Breakers, the W South Beach and Trump International, meals at Bergdorf Goodman, apparel from stores like Brooks Brothers, and a $3,300 Airbnb rental, $3,300 in California. What's far more eye-popping is that Mr. Santos spent several $1,000s on hotels on Long Island, such as the Garden City Hotel. Yet, ostensibly, he lived just a short drive away in Queens. It is very much with past precedent that elected officials have been both indicted and convicted on this specific charge alone. Any one of these potential allegations taken on their own warrants a federal investigation. But when they are taken together, the urgency is absolutely merited for a federal review and federal investigation. Look, this isn't a partisan issue. If Mr. Santos does the right thing and steps down, I have no idea who takes his seat, a Republican or a Democrat. The truth is, it doesn't matter because the people get to decide. Mr. Santos lied to the people he was willing to serve, and he took away the choice that people had to choose their representative based on the honest facts of the race. You don't get to do that in the United States of America. And you're damn well sure that you don't get to do that in the 3rd Congressional District here on Long Island and Queens. Thank you, and we'll now hear from a number of civic leaders and elected officials. First, we have New York State Assembly Member Taylor Darling.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here in this very frigid weather. I want to thank my colleague, Legislator Lafazan, for bringing us together because accountability is important for all of us, but especially for the people that we, the voters, choose to represent us. And I just have to say that as I proudly represent the 18th Assembly District in New York, which includes Hempstead, Uniondale, Freeport, Roosevelt, and Lakeview, that my voters are definitely concerned, my constituents are definitely concerned, and I am here to speak about the importance of integrity in our democratic process. We have a responsibility to vet and verify candidates who make the decision to run for office. At a time when so many American people are feeling unheard, hopeless, and overburdened, we have to do all we can to protect our democracy and ensure we have the best citizens with the best intentions running for office. From where I stand today, that is not the case for the election in the 3rd Congressional District. These allegations are proven to be true, and this person deceived voters who thought he was someone that he is not. How can his constituents trust his intentions when we do not even know who he is? I am looking forward to going back to Albany to work with my colleagues to determine ways that we can strengthen the vetting process before someone is placed on the ballot. We must do all we can to maintain and build the trust of our hardworking, tax-paying American citizens because the state of our democracy depends on it. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing where this goes.
Next, you'll hear from 2 youth leaders who reached out to our office and who are incensed by this news. First, you'll hear from Sabrina Guo, who is a youth leader and a student at Syosset High School.
Thank you, Josh. My name is Sabrina Guo, Sabrina Sabrina, last name Guo, Guo. Hello everyone, my name is Sabrina Guo. I'm a 17-year-old student activist and a senior at Syosset High School. I'm also a resident in the 3rd New York Congressional District. When I first read the New York Times article about the accusation of potential fraud and misrepresentation surrounding Congressman-Elect George Santos, I was incredibly disappointed and concerned. Lies, false claims, and dishonest practices undermine our American democracy and values, deteriorating the moral fiber of our society. As an elected official, no matter the level, respecting our people with integrity and speaking the truth should not be a political issue, especially at a time when transparency and accountability are so crucial to the sustenance of our political lives, regardless of party affiliation. Sitting in a seat of power necessitates deep responsibility and accountability, particularly in light of the many issues that have been amplified during the COVID pandemic. When an elected official allegedly falsifies details on their resume and biography, not only is their character questioned, but the efficacy and goodwill of a representative democracy is challenged. As a youth activist who has worked with many elected officials from both parties on issues such as racial prejudice, gun violence, climate change, sexism, and more, I know that what we need right now, more than ever, are leaders who are loyal to our democratic values, who respect the bounds of our ethics, and who uphold the morals that a United States representative should uphold. I am not 18, so I cannot vote yet, but when I do, I want to vote for someone who has my family's, and my community's best interests in mind. When an elected official builds their candidacy on the notion of embodying the American dream and running to help others achieve or protect it, yet have allegedly lied to their own followers, supporters, and American public, that is a major red flag, and if proven to be true, undermines what our country stands for. During a time of such great uncertainty, young people need to step up to question falsehood, challenge authority, and stand for what is right. And what we deserve now is transparency, accountability, and leadership that always respects and uses their positions of power to serve their constituents with utmost integrity and character. These are serious accusations, and I look forward to hearing what Congressman-Elect Santos' side of the story is, and I hope that he and all public servants in our country, first and foremost, hold themselves accountable and understand that trust is earned and not given. Your constituents are conscious, and my generation, the youth, will especially be chief among them to speak truth to power. Thank you.
Sabrina, and I look forward to voting for you for president in 2050.
Thank you.
Lastly, you'll hear